And we are live. Now, let me just get my page together. I got a lot of good stuff for tonight. I'm super excited about tonight's class. Good evening, and welcome to the online Metaphysical Bible Hangout. This Bible experience is an extension of Understanding Principles for Better Living Church, where the Reverend Dr. Della Reeselette is the minister and founder. Up Church is a Bible-based New Thought Christian church. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, we would love for you to join us. Our services are held at 1 o'clock every Sunday at 600 West Queen Street in Inglewood, California. Now, I have a couple of announcements, so bear with me before we get started. Every Saturday, Reverend Sherri Thompson hosts the Spiritual Weight Loss radio broadcast, and you can tune in at 9 a.m., and I highly recommend it at this specific time. It is phenomenal, and you can find it at blogtalkradio.com/Sherri Speaks. I put out a new blog post today. You can find that at revsherri.com, and the blog post is How to Handle Rejection and Have Your Best Day Ever. So that's the post, and so I'd love to hear your comments. So I'd love for you to go and visit the site and leave a comment on the blog post. Let me know what you think. 21 Days of Forgiveness. I've mentioned this course before. We're getting ready to start this. We do a summer series. At my church, we teach in semesters, so we're in the summer semester right now. And we do a combination of in-person classes as well as classes online or teleclasses. And so this is a teleclass. So it's a very short book. You can see it's very thin, and it's called is that a good angle? It's called Before You Pray, Forgive. And the writer is the Reverend Dr. Mary Tumpkin, who was my teacher and my mentor. And I'm so excited. Reverend Mary made her transition in November, but she is near and dear to so many people. We'll be honoring her this summer at our church's conference in Chicago, Illinois. And this opportunity to really teach her words that she taught me, I am so excited to give you this gift because it was such a gift to me. So the class itself is $25. It's $15 to register and $10 for the book. If you are out of town, I need you to let me know soon rather than later if you're interested, because I'm going to need to mail you the book. So need to know if you're interested, and I will give you the PayPal link. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it out via my newsletter, and what you'll be able to do is follow the link in there to register. So if you are not signed up for my newsletter and you are interested in this class, please go and sign up, and that email is going to go out this weekend. But it's a remarkable class. If you know anything about what it means to change your mind, you know that the first thing that you have to do is to forgive. And I think if you've read anything on my blog, you know that forgiveness is not about letting somebody off the hook, but it is about energy transformation. It's about taking that negative energy and transforming it so that it empowers you rather than drains you. And here's the thing, the energy is going to express anyway. So whether you do something about it or not, consciously or unconsciously, that energy is going to express. And so learning to forgive, true forgiveness, not this, letting people off the hook and I accept your apology type stuff that you've been taught it was. But true forgiveness is about energy transformation. And so if you're ready to learn the alchemy of forgiveness, I highly suggest that you get involved in this class. Great class, great price. It's a daily teleclass, so we'll meet every morning, 7 to 7:30 Pacific time. And I think you'll see, those of you who've never taken a teleclass with our church before, it's one of our most popular formats. There's nothing like that half hour in the morning with like-minded people who are focused on living their best life. If you are listening live to this discussion and you want to join in, there's a join button that says be a part of the discussion, and you just click it and it'll pull you in, and you'll be in the chat the way that Ray is in the chat here. So I definitely welcome. There are 10 seats that are available. So if we fill up to that 10, that means someone would have to drop out in order for someone else to come in. But right now, there are 8 more seats available, so come on in. If you have questions, though, we do have a Q&A. If you're watching on YouTube, you can put it in the comments below. If you are watching from the Google event page, you can put them in the comments there. And if you're watching from my website, revsherri.com, you can put the comments there. And of course, we have a Q&A. So lots of different ways that you can get your questions heard, and I definitely want to hear from you. Even though this is a class and I'm sharing information, I do want you to interrupt me, ask me questions if I run over any point, because sometimes metaphysics can get to be really heady and super intellectual. And the whole point of this is that if you can't use it in your life, what, like Erica Badu says, what good do my words do if they don't understand you? So if I say anything that's like pump the brakes, go ahead and say, excuse me, Reverend Sherri, pump the brakes, and I will back up and go over it. The class handouts are available at revsherri.com. If you go to the current class series, there's a tab for it, and you'll be able to pull down that information. And I'm working on a treat for you guys, putting it out in the atmosphere. A really remarkable teacher who does a lot of work in metaphysics with revelation is the Dr. Will Coleman, and he's a fantastic teacher. And so I have put it into the universe and in a specific request to him to come and be a part of this class for our last class. So I'm knowing that he's going to receive the invitation. He's going to receive it positively, and his schedule is going to allow him to come, and you guys will get a chance to hear one of the masters in metaphysical teaching. So like super excited about that. Finally, if you like this class and you like this broadcast, please subscribe. These aren't the only videos. Those of you that were with me last night, you know we did a powerful talk on Is the Bible Still Relevant for New Thought? So we're going to have more things like that. I think we've got 2 more coming up next week, Tuesday and Wednesday night next week. So super excited about all of this. And so if you subscribe, you'll get a notification about all of the videos as they come. All right, that was a lot of announcements. Sorry. All right, this journey is rooted in Scripture. And the Scripture that guides this path that we're on is Matthew chapter 28, verses 19 and 20. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey what I have commanded you. And so I just ask that right where you are, that you just center yourself. And to center yourself means to begin to breathe deeply. Your breath is that connecting link between you and the great I am. And as you breathe deeply, you just want to release any tension. If there's any tension in your neck, you want to release that in your back or shoulders or thighs or buttocks or in your calves. Notice your abdomen. Is it tight? Go ahead and let that go. Any tension in the forehead, let that go as well. We want to relax fully into the present moment. We want to let go of everything that was and bring all of the power and the energy of God that we have command of to this present moment. Father God, we just thank you so much for this class. We thank you for this opportunity to come together in this technological medium. And we just give thanks and praise for everything that will be exchanged here this evening. I ask that you inspire the words that we share from one another so that when we leave tonight, that we will have a deeper revelation of you expressing as us. We give thanks and praise for the one that is called the Christ that lives in us all. And I release this prayer in the name and the nature of Jesus the Christ. And let it be so. And so it is. All right. We've got some good stuff. Just want to shout out Dana, who's in the call, and Ray, good to see you. If you're in the Q&A, put your name in there. I'll definitely give you a shout out. It's good to see everybody. And so now I want to just do a little bit of a review of where we've been, and then we're going to talk about tonight's topic. So the first place that we started was with the vision of Christ. And we said that the Christ symbolizes our higher self. And specifically, Jesus is not singularly the Christ. The Christ is a level of spiritual attainment to which we all can aspire. So this path that you are on, that you're walking toward becoming the Christ. So if you are doing the work that you are called to do, then of you, we will be able to say, Dana, the Christ, Ray, the Christ. It is that you reach that place in enlightenment where you become consciously aware of your oneness. You're already one with God. There is nothing separating you from the love of God. There's nothing separating you in distance or difference. There's not one thing separating you. Only your conscious awareness. Where is your attention? Is your attention on the Christ presence inside of you, or is it caught up in the distractions of life? And here's the thing, all distractions are equal. All distractions are equal, be it death, loss, job transfer, children acting out, stub your big toe, car wreck, cut your finger on a paper cut. All distractions are equal. And becoming an enlightened master is learning to treat all distractions as they really are, which is nothing. So this vision of yourself is about looking past the ordinary world to where you are going and keeping your vision there, but also being fully rooted in the present moment. So it's not about ignoring life as it's happening. It's about being fully present to life. But because you are aware of who you are literally shaping every experience, no matter what it contains, into good. 7 letters to the 7 churches. So John gets his revelation of the Christ, which is his higher self. It's the higher version of where he's going to. And then there's the 7 letters to the 7 churches. And metaphysically, these churches represent areas in our mind. And they are areas in our mind that need to be brought into alignment with God thought. We are where we are in life because of our understanding of both God and ourselves. So as we expand our understanding of God, then our physical expression matches that. How do you know if you're growing? Because your life is changing and getting better. How do you know you're not growing? Your life is not changing and not getting better. Very, very simple formula. So these letters to the 7 churches, they're a form of self-coaching when viewed metaphysically. And just a reminder about the metaphysics, and the key to metaphysics is that you are each and everything in the story. Every person, place, or thing represents an aspect of your mind. Every person, place, or thing represents an aspect of your mind. So what you're looking at when you're reading, especially all of the symbology that's in Revelation, is that these are movements in mind. And so the dragon in the story represents an aspect of your mind. The woman in the story represents an aspect of your mind. Jesus in the story represents an aspect of your mind. And so when you learn the definitions of what these words mean, you understand this movement in mind that's happening. And we study Revelation this way. One of the things that's dawned on me through this process, and really a way to understand Revelation, is that when you are ascending in consciousness, when you are becoming the Christ, you're moving through states and stages of consciousness. And you are constantly elevating. And so the Revelation of John is a guidebook for what's happening in your mind as you are moving up the ladder of enlightenment. And it is a tool to encourage you to stay the course. Because when you start on this path, first of all, when you first start, it's easy to get off, because it's like the seed that falls on rocky ground. It's not soil that can be fertilized and nurtured and have something grow in it. But there comes a point in your spiritual journey in which you are really fertile, and you hear a divine idea and you receive it and you start to work it. But here's the thing, you start to work it and you find yourself in the weeds. And so where you started out and it was grass, let's say at about the ankle, there's a point in your spiritual journey where the grass is up around the head. And so the difficulty with staying with it is what is pulling you through. And so the revelation of John, when studied metaphysically, is really just, it's something to help you stay positive through the experience, so that you will stay the course. I want to shout out Ja. Hey, Ja, good to see you. Glad to have you. And then we moved into the visions, and I was really working with the vision because I wanted to kind of help frame what we're looking at with the visions. And seeing is a function of faith. Seeing is a function of faith. And so John is receiving 7 visions. And the things that you saw at one level of consciousness are different and expanded as you ascend in consciousness. And so each vision is John moving up the ladder of enlightenment in terms of what he has the ability to see. If you think about when you first started studying New Thought, whether you started when you got introduced to this Bible class, or whether you started a few years ago or 20 years ago, you know that as you study, what you see expands. And so you can go back, and everybody says this, you go back and you read H. Emily Cady's Lessons in Truth, and the things you said, when you first read it, I'm going to mute you right there for a second, okay? And then if you need to unmute and say anything, definitely do that. When you first read Emily Cady, it blew your hair back. Totally. Like, you were like, oh my God, this is it. Victory is won in the soul and the silence, and you learn about chemicalization and the difference between individuality and personality, and you're like, I'm rocking and rolling. And the thing is that when you revisit that text a year from then or 2 years from then, you see something totally different. So as you move up the ladder of enlightenment, what you have the ability to see expands. And so this is what's happening with John through these different visions, is that the vision is expanding. And this is what's happening for you as you continue to move up the ladder of enlightenment. What you see expands. And so you get to a place where it's not like you're divorced from life, because that's not really it, because you're actually more engaged than ever. But I'll give the experience that I had this week, and is what I wrote about in the blog post. I posted an invitation in a community that I was a part of. Now, New Thought has always been the heretics of Christianity, and I think I was cool with that. I was like, hey, I'm part of the heretics. I speak for the people who moved in secret societies back in the day, and who were burned at the stake for studying this way. And so that was exciting to me. It was like, I'm part of this incredible tradition. And we trace our lineage through Aristotle and Socrates, and if you ever read Thomas Shepard, Friends in High Places, it's a history of New Thought and this strand of teaching that that we go back to Aristotle with his theory of forms. Anyway, so I'm excited because I'm posting in this community. I'm like, here's another outsider community. Well, let me tell you, I posted in there, and the title of the talk was, "Is the Bible Still Relevant for New Thought?" So I was banned from it. And at first I was a little bit hurt. Like, how you going to get ousted by the outsiders? Like, I'm an outsider. and so, but I got to a place very quickly that, where it was like, I can't give this any energy. This is nothing. And instead of being even offended by it, I was more marveling at the novelty of it. And so, and that's more what I mean when I talk about your vision expands, that you get to a place where you begin to marvel at life. And so things that seem like problems really are not problems anymore, and you start to observe the movement. Because here's the thing, their rejection of me is a representation of something happening in my consciousness, right? Because I meet no one but me. So what you start to see that this is a movement in mind that's happening. So, and you're no longer bowled over because somebody, quote unquote, rejected you. You recognize that this is just a movement in consciousness. And if you are moving with the flow, then you simply just become open. And there's a quote from Bruce Lee that says, become the water. Oh, no, he said, anyway, I put it in the blog post, but he talks about how that if you put water in a cup, water becomes the cup. If you put water in a bowl, water becomes the bowl. And so the point is to be like water, to just flow with what is there. So that's a lot. I'll open it up. I don't know if there are any questions, anything that you guys want to ask or whatever before I jump into the lesson. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about the sixth vision. Now, here's the thing. These chapters are super meaty. There is not any way that inside of an hour I can touch everything in this chapter and have it land. So I'm always giving you kind of a boiled down version of this. But please know that there is so much juicy stuff in this chapter. So the things that we're going to talk about tonight is to recognize that the battle is not yours. So it is not you that does the work, but the spirit of absolute good within you. We're going to talk about the sixth vision, which is the victory of the Word of God. And then we're going to talk about a takeaway, which is that the power for your delivery, your protection, your overcoming, your ability to do lies within you. So the first thing I want to deal with is this notion of the battle is not ours. And I want to make this distinction because I think that somehow you get to New Thought and you think that I'm supposed to then pick up and do. But all struggle comes to an end when we know that the battle is not ours, but His. And the His is the I am, not Jesus. The His is the I am. So the struggle in life comes to an end when we know that the battle belongs to I am. So your job is to supply I am with the ammunition to fight your battles. This is the thing. Everything comes into your experience with what you gave I am in the first place. So if you're living a broke experience, you gave I am broke to work with. If you are living an ill or sick experience, you gave I am sick or ill health to work with. So your job is to give I am the ammunition to fight your battles. And fight is relative because in truth there's no fight. Spirit is absolute good. But for the purposes of us working in the three-dimensional world, your job is to give I am what it needs in order to deliver for you. It's already delivered for you. It's delivered what you have given it. If you have believed that I am weak, if you have believed that I am sad, if you have believed that I am lonely or that I am alone, whatever you have believed about yourself, you are living that experience right now. And in order to have a different experience, you're going to have to give I am something new to work with. You supply the ammunition. So the battle is not yours. I am does the work. And again, we talked about this in previous classes where if you will just use I am, you'll bring up everything that you have agreed to. If you will go ahead, let's say you don't have the money that you want. If you will go ahead and affirm I am rich, you will bring up, if you're observant to what's happening in your experience, you will bring up what disagrees with I am rich. And so you'll know what to work on because it's someone said, when someone throws out an insult, it's the dog that's hit, throws a rock. It's the dog that's hit that yelps, right? And you may have been making a general comment, but the person who struck back is the one that it's not necessarily that it's about, but who internalized it. And so it's the same thing in your consciousness. If you will throw the rock of I am rich, you will find the dog that is keeping you in a broke experience. It will appear for you. It will reveal itself. It'll either show up as whatever it is, as a fear, or it could be a money belief. I've been doing a lot of work around money lately, and just trying to understand just beliefs that I was given. And one of the things that I was given growing up, and not maliciously or anything like that at all, but was the idea that your wealth came out of being in a two-parent household, and that being in a single-parent household meant less money. That's not necessarily true. In fact, there's nothing true about that. But the belief was there, and so there are all these I am statements constructed on it. And so the belief is that then the relationship is going to come and I'm going to have greater resources based on being in a relationship versus being able to do it on my own. And the thing is that consciousness determines form. So I am is already delivering for you. I am is already creating for your experience. And so what you want to do is become conscious and deliberate about the words that you give I am. And so we want to take the conscious step for our own well-being to use words that agree with God. So the battle is not yours, it belongs to I am. If you have any questions about that, please do let me know. If you have any questions about that, I'm going to take a moment, I'm going to check the YouTube page and see if there's a question or anything on there. All right, I don't have anything in the chat. I guess I should go to YouTube, huh? Let me know if there are any questions about that. Nope. All right. Very good. I shall take that as we can keep moving forward. Okay. All right. So then the next thing is the sixth vision. And what Elizabeth Santurner writes in the text is that the time has come for us to realize that victory is gained not by what we can do, even with God's help, but by what we let the Christ do through us. And again, the Christ is synonymous with I am. And our greater teachers knew the limitations of self-effort. And so we must begin to let go and let God. Now, I have a delay in my video, and I don't know. I did something. I am trusting that y'all can still see me. If you can see me, let me know. Ugh, Google Plus. All right, I think this is still potentially working. How are we doing? All right. Gotta love technology. Okay, all right, well, I was having a delay, and so I just figured I would just hang tight for just a second. Mercy. All right. I won't check for those questions on YouTube. I will have to catch them later. All right. So the sixth vision. So the text says, the time has come for us to realize that victory is gained not by what we do, even with God's help, but by what we can let the Christ do through us. When you start to work with the I am, there is a point at which you realize that it is not by your effort that things happen. And I'm going to do my very best to explain this because, and I think that, as I grasp this concept more, it'll, I'll get better at explaining it. But it only appears that what you do in the outer is what produces the results. So you have this idea that I make breakfast, I eat food, and so then that's what sustains me. But in actuality, it happens inside of you, and then an outer action follows. My trainer, Dion, I call him Dion Kick Butt Jackson. My trainer sent me a thing that said, ab is a picture of like these 6-pack abs and someone like standing at a stove, and so you can't see a face, it's just a torso, and it's a body of abs, rock hard abs. Of course, Dion would send me that. And so the caption said, abs are made at breakfast, not in the gym. And I appreciated that, because it is that you can do all of the exercise that you want to, but if you don't follow it with the diet, you'll get a little bit of weight off, but it won't do the kind of work that will be done when you go ahead and eat properly. And so it's the same thing in consciousness, that the outer effort is not what actually makes it happen. In fact, the outer effort that you do is controlled by what you have thought about on the inner. As you expand, Ray, I'm going to mute you. As you expand what you think and feel, you expand what it occurs to you to do. If you had two people in a situation, let's say that Bill Gates and you, and it's a new day, a new planet, but all the same rules, let's say, of Earth. And all you have, both of you have the same tools. You have a laptop and $500. What do? Each of you is going to think of a different scenario of things to do because of how you're looking at the situation. So the thinking and feeling determines what even occurs to you to try. So the purpose of any kind of real Bible study, for real, is that it's to expand your ability to think and feel about a situation. If what you are studying spiritually is not expanding how you think and feel about a situation, then the study is not worth it. Your mind is the connecting link to all that is. So your job is to stretch your mind as far as you can possibly stretch it. Get to the end of your own earth and see if you fall off. I used to work out with Billy Blanks, and he would give us squats. And we would be in a squat, and you would feel like you were like putty, like you were about to pass out. And he would say, if you think you're about to fall out, just see if you're going to fall out. Basically, go to the end of what you think is possible for you. And so it's the same thing with your thinking and feeling, that this study, that the reason we do metaphysical Bible study is that what we're trying to do is stretch the mind. Because it is through the mind that everything comes into your experience. It is through your thinking and feeling. And so if you never stretch your thinking and feeling, it's no wonder that you create in the same radius that you've been creating in. So growth is about mind expansion. And mind expansion only happens two ways: prayer and study. Prayer, when you make true contact, touch the silence, you're changed. Period. The second way is you can sit down and study. That study opens up the mind and stretches you. That's the danger of reading gossip magazines, not because it's sinful, but because it's your mind. And your mind is worth more than what's in that $5.99 magazine. You can't afford to recreate what's in there, because that becomes the food that your mind feasts on. It's like eating candy and thinking that you're going to have a rock solid body. It doesn't work like that. So I hope that's clear, that it's the outer is controlled by the inner. And the picture that you see in your world is a function of thinking and feeling. And only when you get the thinking and feeling in alignment with God do you begin to move from glory to glory to glory. So I don't know if there are any questions on that, but if there are, let me know, and I will definitely answer them. Thank you, Kay. Kay says she can see me. Appreciate that. All right, so another point that she makes in the chapter is that sometimes it seems that loyalty to spiritual ideals puts us at a disadvantage in dealing with those in personal consciousness. I love this heady language. Basically, it's this idea that I'm at a disadvantage because I'm operating according to spiritual principle. And that's just not true. The truth is that operating by the Spirit is much stronger than operating by personal consciousness. Error thinking based on limited understanding of the world, contains the seed for its own destruction. And you've seen people implode. You've seen them absolutely. In fact, if you step out of the way, they will implode, and you can just watch it happening. So you are not at a disadvantage because you choose to take the high road. You don't lose because you choose to operate according to a spiritual ethic. In fact, you win. But more than that, it's not even about winning and losing, because the truth is that we're all connected. But the spiritual strength that is within you is stronger than the negative energy in someone else. Here's the thing. It's just what I said, that you can't, again, this is no denigration against these magazines. They entertain and they're worthwhile for somebody at some level in consciousness, right? So you read Us magazine, or you read People magazine, or you read any one of these magazines, and this is not, if you read these magazines, please do not take this offensively. I'm using it to make a point, to say that when you consume that kind of information, at the end of the day, it's based on a consciousness that says that there are some people who deserve and some people who don't. There are some people who are beautiful and there are some that are not. There are some people who have money and there are others who don't, right? It's based on this false world system that believes that there's a limited amount to go around. In fact, what gets you to pick up the magazine is that they're going to give you 5 tips about something that you don't have. Right there is the error thought. There's nothing that you don't have. So it plays on the mortal consciousness. It plays on the belief that somehow I'm missing something. And by reading this magazine, consuming this candy, this mental candy, I'm somehow going to get the nutrition that I need. And so we flip through it because we want to know, what do I need to do to keep my man happy? 5 things to make him happy in bed. You know, or 4 ways that you know that you will, be married by the time you're 30, or whatever the latest headline is, right? So that stuff tears you down. It tears you down because it's based on a consciousness that there are some people who are greater than and there's some people who are lesser than. Well, somebody's got to fill the slot. And then you've got to agree that there's people that are greater than, there are people that are lesser than. And so, which means that there's somebody that's greater than you and somebody that's lesser than you. And depending on where you are in consciousness will determine the people that you end up hanging around. But you're always judging yourself according to outer standards. And so what I'm saying to you is that what happens in the spirit, what the beauty and the reward of studying scripture and specifically metaphysical Bible study is that it strengthens you, because it reminds you that all the power that is lives within me. That there is not anything in my world that has not come by my own invitation. And that by virtue of the words that I speak, I issue a new invitation. So every time I say I am rich is an invitation for rich to come in. Every time I say yes to absolute good, it is an invitation to absolute good to come into my experience. And I am strengthened by that. You can go longer on positivity, far longer than you could ever go on negativity. So let go of the idea that somehow you are at a disadvantage because you have taken the spiritual path. That is simply the ego that wants to keep you tied to where you are. The next thing that she writes, and I know why I chose this one, the whole secret of the demonstration of Christ is that we shall come to realize our original sinlessness. Now, anybody who knows me knows probably why I picked that, because this idea of original sin, you can let that go. You were made in the image, likeness of God. Period. You were made in you are made in the image, likeness of God. Not this physical body, but the life force that animates. So the truth of who you are is perfection. And the whole purpose of this study and anything else that we're going to study from here on out is for the purpose of reminding you of your spiritual origin, reconnecting you to who you really are. So a sinner is simply someone who believes in two powers, who believes that there is good and evil. And a saint is someone who believes in the one power, absolute good. The whole secret to metaphysics, the entire secret, there's nothing else you're going to get. It's not, you may get variations, different language, but the whole secret is built on a realization of our original sinlessness. And a sinner is someone who believes in two powers, who believes that there is good and evil. You are not really alive, wholly alive, safely alive, eternally alive, until you get right where Jesus the Christ was and that is within you. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Not some kingdom in the sky, and certainly not a material kingdom. If you notice, this came to me a long time ago, but I'll mention it now, that when they think of the kingdom, and they encourage people to take this, oath of poverty that, somehow not having in this life is going to help you in the next life, right? But their imagination of heaven is like just a better version of what's on earth. And they talk about the streets paved with gold, and the pearly gates. And my teacher, Reverend Mary, would say, do you really, of all the souls that have gone on, do you really think that there's a pearl left in the pearly gates? Do you really think that there is a brick of gold left in the streets of gold? So, it is to point up this very human concept that we have of this heaven somewhere in the sky. And so we're constantly looking outside of ourselves. And the truth is that everything that we need resides inside of us. And so your journey is really a journey within yourself. Maya Angelou, and I have this on my site, and I love this quote. She put it there as this is the last tweet that she tweeted, and it said, listen to yourself, and in that quietude, you might hear the voice of God. Listen to yourself. Have you ever gotten quiet enough to listen to yourself? Have you ever shut down everything around you? Send the kids out. They'll be okay. Send them out to play. Shut the door and listen to yourself. And in that quietude, you might hear the voice of God. You are more powerful than you ever imagined yourself to be. You are more beautiful than you ever thought yourself possible. You are more incredible than whatever your highest vision of incredible is. You're better than that. And the only way to let it out is to go within and touch it. You have to go inside and find that spirit that resonates inside of you. And mind you, I'm pointing inwardly, but this is a shell. So this shell is actually in the soul, but that's a whole other, I won't go there. The second coming is not a bodily return. It is a return in consciousness, in the mind. If it does not dawn on you, the Christ is you, in you, living as you, then the second coming is not happening for you. And then the last point that I chose from the chapter is evil has no power except what we give by acknowledgement and faith. What you believe in becomes your experience. If you believe in evil, it becomes your experience. If you believe in evil, you open the door for it to become your experience. You have to say yes for evil to show up in your experience. So you have the ability to say no. This is one of the mystical teachings and lessons that we get out of the Jesus in the wilderness and dealing with the character called Satan, right? That the writer calls Satan. And at the very end of what he says is, get thee behind me. And if you can read any of the Gospels, he is never, the character never reappears. Ever. I know in movies they bring him back because they got to tell the story. And they're trying to fix what the gospel writer wrote. The character never reappears. So you can deal finally with the evil in your experience. You can speak to it. And I don't mean just evil like demonic. Not having enough money is evil. Not having the health that you need is evil. Not having a satisfying love relationship is evil, if that's what you want. Some people want to be single. I do get that. That ain't my story. But some people do want to be single. So this is not, for those of you that have dedicated your life to being by yourself and are happy with that, I'm honoring you and I'm honoring your choice. My point is that anything that you choose to release, you can release finally. And there does not have to be any residue in your experience from it. Evil has no power except what we give it by acknowledgement and faith. I belong to a Wednesday night circle, one of my favorite groups. I love my people. I don't know who's watching on the broadcast. Hey, Wednesday night circle. Just want to shout you guys out. And we were talking about sensation in the body, and one of the members of the group had done Vipassana meditation, and I haven't done that yet, but it's on my list of things to do, and I know I'll get to do it either this year or early next year. But Vipassana meditation, you actually go to this site, physical site. You go to this site and you're quiet. It's 10 days of solitude and 10 days of quiet. And I don't know how they do meals, but it's like all organic food and, berries and cherries and stuff like that. But you go to this site and you are quiet, and so you meditate. And what they teach you, one of the things, is that when you have a sensation in the body, if you feel like, I've got an itch on my nose, and the thing is that to not scratch it, to just let it be there. And because over time, if you just ignore it, it will go away. And so it's true with every sensation. Every sensation, whether it is the desire for food, the desire for sex, the desire for money, the desire for whatever, if you will just let the desire be, whatever that is, or fear, if you just let the fear be, don't feed it, but just let it be, just acknowledge it, that it's there. It's like, oh, okay, I see you. I recognize you. I recognize you appearing as an itch. I recognize you appearing as a fear that there's not enough. I recognize you appearing as whatever. If you will just let it be, it must fade away. And so it's just occurred to me, I think this is probably what Bruce Lee is talking about, where you become the water. So you go into a cup and you become the cup. And you go into a bowl and you become the bowl. So you are simply just being. And you are resting in the awareness that I am, period. So I'll leave you with this. This week I was working on a video for my mentor, Mary Tumpkin, and I got an opportunity to interview some people who were close to her, who were in her life either as students or her son or best friend, or but they had some kind of connection to her. And I heard this story and it just touched my soul. And it said, we are waiting on this Superman, and this is a sermon that she gives. And this Superman is the greatest thing. He can, leap tall buildings in a single bound. He can, fly, look up in the sky, fly. It's a bird, it's a plane. Okay. Anyway, the the catchphrase for Superman. But the point is that he can do anything, and nothing can foil him. The only thing that possibly could is kryptonite, but only a few people know that kryptonite is what could get to him. So no one knows his secret, and neither do they know who he is. And he, walks around in disguise with glasses as Clark Kent. And when trouble comes, he takes off that suit and becomes Superman. And she gives this whole story of Superman, and so the congregation is sitting there saying, "Who is this Superman? Who is this Superman?" And she said, the Superman is the Christ inside of you. And the hand that will save you is the one that is at the end of your own arm. And I thought, that's just Mary. Love Mary Tumpkin. If you ever get a chance to listen to any of her CDs or anything that she's taught, I highly recommend it. She is amazing. So with that, I'm going to open up, and if there are any questions, I want to give you guys an opportunity to let me know what you think. Anything I said that you think, aha, I don't agree with any of that. or Sherri, I agree with everything you're saying. Everything you said, I agree 100%. Any questions? I'll give you this quote while I'm waiting to see if anybody has any questions. I read it today. If on my iPad, there's this app called Think Big Today. It's a great quote. And it says, when I hear somebody sigh, life is hard, I am always tempted to ask, compared to what? Y'all probably didn't know I was corny. When I hear somebody sigh, life is hard, I am always tempted to ask, compared to what? Any questions? Anything that's not clear? Anything you want me to go back over? So I guess you guys are saying that it's all clear? Oh, okay, I got a chat message. Yes, Josh says, just an observation, seems to me that the serpent dragon is undergoing some sort of purification process such that, I don't know what you're going to say after that, Josh, but yes, this whole, thank you for bringing that up, this whole book, everything about Revelation is about the purification and consciousness. That in order for you to go where, okay, so wait, you just added something, Jai, hold on. So I'm going to read it one more time. It says, just an observation, seems to me that the serpent or dragon is undergoing some sort of purification process such that there really is no evil or negativity that exists. Yes, yes, evil is not real. That's it. Yes, yes, thank you. Thank you. And first of all, I love you, John, because you always bring whatever it is that I'm not yet gonna like jump and say. You always give me that little extra nudge to go over that cliff. So I just want to shout you out for that. Thank you. There is no evil. There is no evil. There is no evil. It needs a consciousness. In order for it to even be, somebody has to say yes. And if you don't say yes to it, it cannot find you. It cannot find your expression. It cannot come through your vessel. Remember, a sinner is one who believes in two powers, who believes in good and evil. If you will shift your belief, it is done unto you according to your belief. And if you, here's the thing, I think that because we're so married to this idea of the three-dimensional world and this belief in form and this belief that this body is somehow real, right? That we think that New Thought people are trying to get you to be convinced of something, believe something. And the thing is, you already believe something. You already believe something. Your life is built on the beliefs that you have. So in order for you to have something different, your belief has to change. If you talk to anybody who has become successful at whatever they become successful at, they will tell you, I had to change how I was thinking. I had to look at things differently. Read the biographies of people who achieved great things. And what you will see are decisions that they made along the way to change how they were thinking. And so what I'm giving you is change how you're thinking about this whole good, evil paradigm. And just try it. See what it gets you. You can always go back to believing in evil. You ain't got to do that for a lifetime. Just try it for 10 days and see what you get. See what kind of results you test it out. Being a metaphysician is like a physician. Just you go test it out. So thank you, Ja. I appreciate you for that. One day you're going to reveal yourself to me. Oh, so nice to meet you. Any other questions? Anything else?
Never mind.
Go ahead, Dana.
Oh, okay. No.
You muted me. I was like, okay.
Oh, no, I wasn't. Oh, Lord, I wasn't trying to mute you, but I thought I was muted. I'm sorry. Oh, Lord. Okay. I had something I wanted to share, and then I have a question. I saw an interesting mural today that I want to share with everybody. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I saw this mural. I saw it yesterday, actually, and then I came back and I took a picture of it. And it speaks to me to what you're teaching us. It says, why do we not believe in what we already know? And I took a picture of it. And it just was interesting to me because at first I thought it said, why do we not believe in what we already are? But when I went back, it says, why do we not believe in what we already know? And it just struck me. So I wanted to share that. My question is everybody going to have a second coming? Because the thing that you said to me that is certainly something that I've never heard before, and I'm so relieved at the truth of what the second coming means. But I feel like my second coming personally is coming because I have lived in such a place where my consciousness and my outcomes represent error thinking about the truth of who I am. The outcomes are not the ones that I desire, and I've created them. So I'm hungry for a second coming, for real, because, but I wondered, I said, well, there are certainly people who are living outcomes that they actively chose. They're in their calling, they're dancers, they're car makers, they're whatever. Are we all going to have a second coming? Just curious.
If we go with what the scripture tells us that every knee shall bow. Now, the traditionalists take that to be everybody's going to believe in Jesus.
Right.
Okay. So, but every knee shall bow is that every every person shall come to know the I am. And remember, the consciousness is ever expanding. So the truth is that you're never stuck in consciousness. You might waddle around in a particular area, but you're never stuck in consciousness. So you're either moving forwards or backwards, but there is no stuck in consciousness. So I would tend to say yes, that the whole point of experience is to come to know yourself as God. But you got to remember that we're not distinct, discrete units. Like, I'm expressing over here in this consciousness and you're expressing over there in that consciousness, but in reality there is no over here and over there, because there's only one mind, there's only one power and one presence, and that power and presence is God. So there's no, it looks like we're separate, but in actuality we are one. There's no difference, distinction, separation between me and you, or me and you and anybody else. I am one. You know, we used to say this at Up Church, and we haven't done it in a while, which is, I am one with God. I am one. I'm gonna mute you on that one, Dana. I am one with God. I am one with all men. I am one with all life. I am one with the one. I am one with God. I am one with all men. I am one with all life. I am one with the one. And men meaning inclusive mankind, not men and not women. And so I am one with all. I am connected. I am plays all the parts. I am all that there is. And what I mean by that is not that I am all that God is in totality, but it's like the drop of ocean in the water. In the constituents parts, it's still H2O. So now, does that answer the question that you were asking, Dana? Okay, I think she's still muted.
Okay, how about, oh no, now I muted you. Sorry. Oh.
Okay, go ahead. I was just making sure that I answered the question.
You actually answered in more detail a question that I didn't have, but then you definitely answered the question, because we're all one. So there is only 1 second coming, because there's only one. And exactly. So if I'm looking at us as discrete units, which we are not, then we are all having a second coming. But there is no we are all, because there is no over there, there is no over here. There's just the 1 second coming. The only thing that you did kind of spawn is when you said every knee shall bow. That's just metaphysically, what does that mean? Because I mean, like, I dismissed that it was this idea that we're going to worship him as Lord King, and so I know that it's not that. But what does every knee shall bow metaphysically mean?
Well, what does Jesus represent metaphysically?
What does Jesus represent metaphysically?
Mm-hmm.
The I am.
Okay, so every knee shall bow to the I am. When you bow, you come into an awareness of the reverence of something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you'll come into the reverence when you recognize the power of I am. It is the realization that my whole life rides on I am. I am stands in complete integrity under my experience.
But then that reverence, does it all of a sudden, there's the reverence, but it sounds like as well, I don't know, this may sound weird, like really our goal is to cooperate with our I am, like it's to
exactly. But it's also the wonder. It's like you become as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get to that place of just wonderment about life and about creation and just the awesome, I love the song How Great Thou Art. Mm-hmm. And especially because I'm someone who likes to hike, and I can see myself, I can see through the eyes of the person, especially when I'm hiking and I'm on a mountain where it's not very populated here in California, and I can see sitting out and just observing nature and getting to this place. It's like I don't remember the lyrics by heart, but it's that basically I hear the babbling brook and I hear all this, and I see this, and it's like I'm paying attention to this vista, and I'm noticing all of these little things, and then sings my soul, how great thou art. One of the experiences that I had, I lived in Tahunga for about 1.5 years, and I had a house where there was nothing behind the house except the San Gabriel Mountains. And up to that point, I'd always thought of mountains as stationary things, right? And stationary inanimate things. But being in that house, I basically got to observe the change of life on this mountain over the course of 18 months. And what I came to know is that in order that life sustains life, that in order for all of that life to live on the mountain, including the mountain lions, all the different plants, and then the things that changed according to the season, that the mountain itself is alive. Mm. So, and I had never thought of a mountain as being alive. It was that was amazing to me. So it is that when you just sort of drop into nature, you drop into this like wonderment, like you that God is just awesome. It's like there's nothing like it. Like it's just mind blowing. And you think of if you just think about what's happening right now in the universe, that, we're on this call together, right? And then outside of each of our houses, there's all of this life happening around us, but then there's the life happening inside of each of our houses. And the intelligence that there is sustaining all of that in perfect order. Not to mention that depending on where you are in the world, the moon is up or the sun is up or whatever weather patterns are happening. It's that's awesome. I mean, then sings my soul, how great thou art. So the every knee shall bow is that you recognize that the I am plays all the parts, that the I am stands in complete integrity under all that is happening right now. And that your right use of I am shifts what is happening in your experience and takes nothing from somebody else's experience to give to you. That's awesome. That's so amazing. So that's what the knee is bowing to that just incredible, unspeakable wondrousness. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
And then all that lives inside of us. Like, I muted you, sorry. Wait, okay, did I straighten it out? And then all that...
I got it, I'm good.
All that lives inside of us.
Yes, that's why that poem that Rumi, I'm so afraid to try to look for something right now, that Rumi says, it's called Strange Business.
Mm-hmm. The Paracelsus, where he's...
No, not Paracelsus, that's Robert Browning. I love me some Robert Browning. But no, this is Rumi, and it's called Strange Business,
which I've looked up before on your behalf.
Yeah, this is my favorite. I have a lot of favorite poems, so y'all shouldn't believe that. you should just know that I love poetry, but I want to find the whole thing. I know it by heart, but I want to find it so that I quote it exactly and don't miss a word. Okay, well, I'll go with this. Okay, Strange Business.
I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now. Here it is. Okay. So this is Rumi, and I think Rumi is just about the most dynamic of all of the thinkers. And I joke with my friends that I love all of these, mainly dead men, but Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, Charles Fillmore, Emanuel Swedenborg. These are my buddies. So who knows what that says about me. But the poem says, you sit here for days, this is strange business. No, the poem is called This is Strange Business. You sit here for days. You're the strange business. You have the energy of the sun in you, but you keep knotting it up at the base of your spine. You're some weird kind of gold that wants to stay melted in the furnace so you won't have to become coins. And I thought that is just, I love that. It's like, you're the strange business. And you know, when people look at someone who's living a spiritual life, that's what they say, you know, they're strange. You know, you you mentioned the Bible. It's kind of like when I put that post in the community on Google Plus. And mind you, the person I was accused of Bible thumping, proselytizing, trying to bring my cult in there. And I'm thinking, how is it that this community that I think that I'm aligned with, who understands that New Thought is a philosophy, that they're kicking me out? Like, what the heck? So, but it says, you know, it's that kind of thing. It's like you're the strange business, right? That you are walking with the energy of the sun. You're walking with all the power that God is, and you keep knotting it up at the base of your spine because you keep saying, I'm broke. Because you keep saying, I don't have. So I love that. Any other questions? Any other questions? Thank you guys for tonight. Thank you so very much. Sorry about the little tech glitch in the beginning. I will figure out how to edit it, and I think, and and fix it so that the video plays properly. But I just love and appreciate you. You show up every Thursday, which I think is just awesome. I think it's like the most awesome thing. I want to encourage you to read for next week. We're doing Revelation chapter 21 and chapter 22. And for Elizabeth Sand Turner, we're doing pages 272 to 279. Revelation 21 and 22, this is the seventh vision, and pages 272 to 279 in the text. If you need the text, you can actually find it on my website at revsherri.com. And I'd love it if you would take a moment and take a look at my latest blog post, how to handle rejection and still have your best day ever. And leave me a comment. I appreciate that. And if you like this video and these are the kinds of things that you want to hear about, I encourage you to subscribe, and you'll be kept abreast of other live events and also just taped things that I do on Google+. All right. I thank you. This was a great night. See you guys. Oh, I forgot a closing prayer. I affirm that the light of God surrounds you, the love of God enfolds you, the power of God protects you, and the presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and so it is. Sorry about that. Oops.